Hey there, everybody. Happy Saturday. Hope you're enjoying your weekend wherever you are. This is Earl Bryant coming at you from the very sunny, glorious suburbs of the NYC. That's right, Long Island, New York. And it is time once again for Pearls from Earl. Today's Pearl is dedicated to a very dear friend of mine who I just recently found out is going through a little bit of a challenge. I just want her to know down there in the DC area that I'm thinking of her and I'm right there with her and my thoughts and my prayers are with her. Keep your head up and stay strong, and I'll talk to you again real soon. This shout out is dedicated to you. This Pearl is inspired by you and by something that I have observed over the years. And this Pearl is very simply called Bring Your Best When You're Not at Your Best. Point blank, right now we're in the middle of baseball season. And as many of you know who are sports fans, baseball is a season that takes several months to complete. Depending on how well you do, it can take anywhere from 6 to 8 months. From the very first days of spring training to the final game of the World Series, when the last team standing is crowned a champion. That means that somewhere along the way, you could probably play upwards of about 180, maybe even 200 games, depending on how long your schedule is and how far you go. And as the great Connie Mack said, baseball is not a sprint, it's a marathon. It means you have to pace yourself from time to time, and you're not going to be operating at 100% every single day. There are going to be ups and there are going to be downs, because by definition, going into a baseball season, you know that the best team is going to lose at least a third of its games. The worst team is going to win at least a third of its games. And the difference between the best and the worst is how they handle that middle third of games. And even when you get to the postseason, there's no guarantee that the team with the best record is going to win the championship every year, because it's not about being the best team overall or even all the time. It's about playing your best ball at the right time. So once you get into the postseason, you have just as good a chance to win a championship as anybody else there, as long as you put it all together at the right time and do it often enough to be able to lift up that trophy. Now, in a sense, baseball, like a lot of other sports, is symbolic of life, because in order to be successful, you have to understand that every day might not be your day. Everything's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be swimmingly peachy keen, fine, dandy, and swell all the time. You're not always going to have all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed, and all your ducks in a row. You're going to be taking a hit now and then. You're going to get knocked down. And to use a baseball vernacular, every now and then you're going to make an error. You're going to strike out in a big spot. You might drop a ball here. You might get caught off base. You might have a situation where you're up at the plate and the pitcher throws a pitch a little too close to your head. They call it buzzing the tower. You might get taken out on a hard slide at second base and get knocked down and get injured. What I'm saying is all different kind of calamities throughout the season can take place. And using an overall sports metaphor from the movie Rocky Balboa, the title character said to his son that winning is done by taking the hits and moving forward, because you're going to get hit. And any of you who are looking at me who happen to be football fans understand that the best teams, just like the worst teams, get hit and they get knocked down. But the teams who win the championship overall find a way to get around that hit and to work through that adversity to come out on top, because everything's not going to be perfect all of the time. And anybody who thinks it is going to be perfect or supposed to be perfect is just kidding themselves. It doesn't work like that. Eric Thomas, Ph.D., said it best when he said this: champions keep going when there's nothing left in their tank. Football Hall of Famer and college coach Bill Curry spoke of his days in the National Football League when he played offensive line for the Baltimore Colts. And he talked of those rugged days in November and December and even January, in that tough, cold weather, especially when you're going to places like Green Bay, Wisconsin, which is just this side of the North Pole as far as the United States is concerned. And he said that playing on those tough, cold, rugged days against the legendary Packers of Vince Lombardi, when he was on the offensive line, he didn't feel like getting his face smashed in play after play by Ray Nitschke and all those other legendary Packers back in that day. But he said that every time he didn't feel like stepping on that field one more time and getting beat up and knocked down and nicked and smacked around and getting his face smashed in, every time he was tempted to quit because he didn't feel like enduring it anymore, he would look to his left and he would look to his right, and he would see his teammates in the offensive line who were going through the same thing that he was going through, and he understood that he couldn't let them down because he realized that his teammates were doing the same thing and taking the same kind of punishment for his benefit and for the team's benefit, and there was no less that he could do for them. He had to be just as willing to take that punishment for them as they were for him. If you ever get a chance to watch the movie Any Given Sunday starring Al Pacino, watch the locker room scene. You might even be able to see it on YouTube. I won't go into it right now, but what he said to his players point blank was, you got to look at the guy next to you and understand that you have to be willing to put yourself in there and lay it on the line for him because he's willing to do the same thing for you. So the point I'm making to you is this. In sports as in life, you're not going to have instant success or instant failure, really. You're going to go through a lot of things, a lot of ups and downs along the way. Things are not going to be perfect. Things will not always go your way. They will not go the way you expect them to. There are going to be times when you're going to do a face plant, you're going to fumble, you're going to stumble, you're going to trip, fall flat, roll over, you're going to screw up here and there, you're going to go through stuff. You can describe it differently. I think you know what I'm saying. You're going to go through some tough times and some adversity along the way to your championship, whatever your championship is. And there are going to be days when you just don't feel like going through it again. You don't want to get in that batter's box again. You don't want to get on that court again. You don't want to get on that gridiron again. You don't want to step on the ice again. And speaking of the court and the ice, as I speak, the basketball and hockey playoffs are being contested to decide champions of those winter sports. I can guarantee you the 3 teams that are remaining in the hockey playoffs see the championship in sight. Nobody's talking about what they don't feel like going through because they want to get their hands on that trophy. Likewise, with the basketball playoffs, I don't know how many teams are left, but I guarantee you nobody's talking about drama. Nobody cares about whose feelings are getting hurt. Nobody cares about a referee's bad call. All they want is that trophy at the end, because putting their hands on that trophy and making it a team effort and winning it together is going to make all the so-called adversity and injustice of the game wash away in the glow of that title for whoever happens to be fortunate enough to win it. So trust me when I tell you, when you really want to win, there are going to be days when you just don't feel like showing up. Show up anyway. You might not be at your best, but that shouldn't stop you from bringing your best that day, whatever your best is. 100% of you, whatever you have to bring that day, is better than waiting for you to get to 100%. Because 100% of your performance 50% performance beats 100% potential any day, even if you're not perfect. Bring your best, because the people that are in it with you, ride or die, are going to do the same thing for you. And that, at the end of the day, is all that counts. And that is today's Pearl from Earl. I hope you got some value from that. And if you did, please like, share, subscribe, pass this on to someone else that you know can benefit from it. And if you want information about how you can learn to bring out your best on the days when you don't feel at your best, click the link in my bio so you can meet people that can help you to achieve that aim and that goal. It is my hope you got some value from this Pearl. Special shout out to my dear friend in DC. Stay strong, keep your head up. I'm right there with you. And until the next time when we gather around for Pearl from Earl, this is Earl Bryant signing off from the suburbs of the NYC, Long Island, New York, saying take care, be well, be blessed and not stressed, and have a fantastic, fabulous 2019. Bye for now.